I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. Yesterday, the story came out on ESPN. It was a very, very long piece, and it was through the lens of Joel Embiid, and he was sharing sort of his side of the story dating back to when he first got here, interns being a part of his injuries, which is crazy, and the whole thing was a mess. There are a lot of pieces to the story personally that I feel for him. Heartbreaking stuff, string pulling stuff. You feel for the guy. He's a person going through a lot of things outside of just a basketball player, and I feel for him, no doubt about it. My overall takeaway, though, is I think it's the first step of a breakup. Because he is essentially, and I don't blame him, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm a Joel Embiid fan. I'm not he's a bum guy. I'm not he's a stiff, he's a loser, he's a fraud. I'm not that guy when it comes to Joel Embiid. So I'm a fan of him. I do recognize that maybe it's just not going to work out the way I wish it did. And sometimes you can have a healthy breakup, and maybe we should be having that conversation. But I think from his perspective, when you're giving out this type of story, it's essentially saying, I am not happy with how all of this has gone down. This is my side. I'm getting a lot out here. And I believe that's probably the first step of a breakup from a big picture standpoint. Do you feel the same way, or do you not?
I didn't read it like that.
Okay.
I've heard that as, a takeaway from it. And of course, there's been talks of with his health, with everything that's happened with the Sixers, and it's certainly been a saga in Embiid's time with the Sixers so far. I read it as, this is my side of the story, and I know that you all know most of it, or you think you do, but you don't know the half of it. And I want to explain how we got here. And it was long, and we joke about how long that article was, but I think it was almost necessary to, like you mentioned, from interns like treating his original injury back in 2014, 2015, to James Harden no longer talking to him. I think, and I understand the frustration. I'm the same as you, bro. It's like, I've never been Embiid is a bum. He's been injured, and I feel like half the time, or over half the time, with his injuries, you can't blame him. Like, it's not his fault. He couldn't feel half of his face for part of the postseason a couple of years ago. But what I read is he was a kid who started playing basketball as a teenager in Cameroon, who was uprooted and sent to the United States, a country where he didn't speak the language. It was a foreign culture, thrown in host families and in dorms, and didn't really know how to interact, and had no briefing whatsoever, and was just kind of thrust into this world and sent off on a fast track to the NBA. And I feel like it all happened before he really had a chance to learn who he was, to mature, to be taught how to even act and have manners, for a lack of a better way to put it. And for that, I feel for him. But it has been frustrating, his journey with the Sixers. It's been really frustrating. I'm not taking away from that. And I hope it's not the first part of a breakup.
Yeah. See, what you brought up there, you said a phrase of how we got here. And when you first said he was telling his story on how we got here, it implies, and I agree with you, he is trying to express that, it implies that where we are now is a very bad spot.
Yes. No, I mean, I don't think anyone could argue, I think that they'll be fine.
Right. So I that's why I think it's more along the lines of a breakup, because if you're trying to justify and sell the story on this is how we got here, a very messy state, I feel that is sort of all right, well, now that we are here, it's most likely time to go different ways. More than it is, I'm accepting that we're here, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure this organization is going to get back on track. We're going to win. I didn't get a sense after reading it, and by the way, I'm not saying Joel Embiid's wrong to do this. I'm not saying it was a bad story. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying the overall takeaway, I didn't get a sense that he goes, we're going to do everything in our power to win a championship as a 76ers organization, and we are going to put our best foot forward and move past all of these issues I had to deal with. I didn't get that feel. If anything, I got it's been chaotic, it's been sloppy, it's been messy, and this is how we got here. And that almost implies to me that it's probably a breakup more than not. And it sucks because he's a big deal. Losing Joel Embiid in this city, and I don't know how you get off the contract. I don't think Daryl Morey's going to trade him off for nothing, and you got to get salaries to match, and it's so intense. But just from a very vanilla standpoint, the day Joel Embiid is no longer putting on a 76ers uniform, it is a big-time athlete moving out of town, and I don't know if the haters realize how big of a deal it really is.
I mean, I totally agree with you on that, and, every season there's been the trade Embiid crowd, and I feel like that crowd's gotten louder and louder. And my retort is always like, for what are you getting back for Joel Embiid that is going to be comparable to a healthy Joel Embiid and how dominant he is? Because I truly believe when healthy, Joel Embiid is, the most dominant player the Sixers have ever had on their roster. I didn't take it as step one of a breakup. I took it as, this is the way we did it in the past, and that was the wrong way, and this is everything I've been through as well. But he clearly says, I'm taking things in my time, and I'm not rushing back like I have been,
right.
In every other time I've been in or recovering from injury or injured. And that clearly didn't pan out for me. So, I'm going to take my time, hopefully be ready for training camp for the start of the season. But if not, tough like that, I'm going to do it on my terms now versus what the medical staff is telling me, because they've been wrong, and that's not a good look for the Sixers at all.
Well, that's my counter. Was it's a shame because now it's as if Joel Embiid saying I got to do it my way, because we've done it the Sixers way for so long, and that's been impossible to get through. So now again, maybe it's not him saying we're breaking up, it's we're still together, but guess what, I don't respect the damn thing you say, which is a very toxic relationship. Imagine being in a relationship with someone and they go, guess what? I don't give a damn about what you have to say. I'm doing it my way. Well, that's not going to last. That relationship's going to end in a breakup. So I think the more we spin this and talk it through, even if it's not instantly a breakup, it's almost the start of an inevitable breakup in a way.
In a way,
and
yeah.
It
was concerning with what he said about the team meeting and the leak, and then if the guy who leaked it was still on the team,
and he is,
and yes, he is, and then Embiid kind of made a comment that I read as, well, I guess I just won't attend team meetings anymore. I won't be a part of whatever narrative's going on there.
But that would see, and that's where, as a Joel Embiid guy, that bothers me.
That bothered me too.
You're not going to show up to team
too.
meetings?
Yeah.
Like, you're the franchise.
Yeah.
Eric Gordon, if that's who it is, come on, man.
Why did I assume it was Eric Gordon too, though?
Well, because
it was like the first name that came to mind.
He had a player option.
Yeah. Like, he wasn't really here. Like, it didn't, I don't know. I feel like a lot of guys on last year's Sixers team were like, I didn't really obviously invest in them. I don't think a lot of people did. So
yeah, it's a shame that we're here. And I want to get your thoughts on this, because yesterday I did a show and it was just about how the apathy for the Sixers is so intense that we just witnessed Paul George get a surgery and nobody paid attention. It's insane. On a week or in a week where there's no sports, it's dead. Your second biggest star on your basketball team gets a surgery after last year's debacle, and not a peep.
Yeah.
That bothers me because I want Sixers basketball again. It needs to be relevant again. And I think the more and more we have apathy and we just forget about the Sixers, the longer they have to just keep screwing around and pushing buttons. Whereas if we get loud, if we get intense, if we get angry and we have the pitchforks going, maybe we can force their hand to do something. Because the more and more you say, forget it, screw them, we don't care, then what's the urgency on their part? They can just do it. We're not paying attention. Do whatever the hell you're doing. We're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Whereas if we're loud and we're grilling them and we're constantly throwing shade their way, maybe they have to react because we're forcing their hand.
Well, with the Sixers, it feels like even when I totally agree with you. Like, I don't want the Sixers to be irrelevant. I've had so much, I feel weird saying so much fun, but I enjoyed watching the Sixers on their postseason runs, I guess, like previous to the last several. They didn't obviously.
It was
didn't
about
have
the
one
hope,
this
though.
last.
We didn't know how it was
like
finishing.
The Jimmy Butler, like that team, of course, until the end. Like, yeah, it ends in heartbreak, but it's still nice to be invested and watch a team that actually can win and dominate at times, even if they haven't made it past the second round. But I don't want it to get to the place where we're inevitably heading. The thing with the Sixers, I don't think that they care either way. Like, they seem, and I think this goes all the way up to Josh Harris, where, you own a team in DC, you own a team in Jersey, and you don't seem fully invested. There's a clear difference, and I don't think it even has a lot to do with what happens on the court with like getting a feel for the city that you're playing in, and it's just always felt like the Sixers don't have that, if that makes sense. Like I think even the Flyers kind of have that Philadelphia grit. The Eagles, of course, do. The Phillies do. The Sixers have always felt like the other. Like they're always like one step behind the other teams in the city because they're not really in lockstep with Philadelphia and what we're all about. And for that, I just don't think it would matter either way if fans were mad, if they were crying out to improve the team, or if they had apathy. Like, I don't think the Sixers even care as an organization.
They care when it hits the pocketbooks. They do. This is why I have a conflicting debate with myself about Joshua Harrison. 215-592-9494. We're about to get back to the phones in 1 second. If you do want to talk about the Eagles, Commanders, or the Sixers conversation, the floor is absolutely yours on the phone lines at 215-592-9494. I don't like Joshua Harris. I don't think anybody likes Joshua Harris. No. You're right. They're not Philadelphians. We don't get that feel.
Do Commanders fans like Josh Harris?
Yeah,
I feel
because
like they do.
Well, they're coming from Dan Snyder, who is like...
that's
we don't
true.
like Joshua Harris because he's not a Philadelphian. Dan Snyder was a garbage human being.
Yeah.
I don't think Joshua Harris is from my understanding, I don't know him like that.
That level of garbage human being.
He doesn't do things maybe the way we like him to move, but I believe he's got a decent heart. I could be wrong. But from an ownership standpoint, if you told me they're going to build a brand new, beautiful Camden facility for a practice facility, which it is a really nice facility to go to, if they're going to hire, and I know it hasn't worked out, but Daryl Morey, okay, I would move off of him. I would have fired him last year. But if you are a franchise and you hire Daryl Morey, I don't think you're an incompetent franchise to hire that and give it a whirl. Like, he is an NBA president of basketball ops worthy of a shot at the time the Sixers hired him. I don't think it's some ludicrous thing where an incompetent piece of trash is in your organization. He's a basketball mind. Now, it's not working out. It's like Embiid. Embiid, it's not working out, but I don't think he's a bum and a stiff. It's not working. With Morey, it's just not working. But to hire him and give it a shot, I don't think is a ludicrous thought. And if your ownership is willing to pay Joel Embiid, pay Ben Simmons, pay Jimmy, pay all these people all this money, fire Brett Brown, pay Doc Rivers, get rid of Doc Rivers, pay Nick Nurse, open the checkbooks, and stay away and let people run the organization like Morey and the president do it, isn't that what ownership is supposed to do? Isn't that, remove Joshua Harris, owner A, pays all the checks, willing to spend all the money, allows a president of basketball ops to run the operation the way he feels is necessary, and he stays away. Is that what we want out of an ownership group, or no? I don't like them, but I don't think they don't provide what good ownership provides from a financial.
You're saying the anger is like it's misplaced.
Well, I think so this is where the layers get peeled back. I think Morey is
onions.
Yeah, that's right.
Shrek.
I think Morey is more to blame than Joshua Harris for this nonsense.
I agree.
But I'm mad at Joshua Harris for not firing Daryl Morey this offseason. You can't move forward with Morey now that we're here and they're allowing that to happen. So that's where my criticism comes in. I don't like Joshua Harris, but I do believe he gives you a lot. So you could win with what Joshua Harris provides you as a franchise. I do believe that. He pays all your superstars. He pays coaches to be fired and go away and bring in the next biggest name. He's brought in Daryl Morey, Doc Rivers, and Nick Nurse. Say what you will about who they are and how it's worked out, but these are big NBA names. And you're firing Doc, paying him, paying Nick, this and that. So they do give you the assets that you need to win. It's just not aligning right now. And that's where I get myself stuck in the pickle of ownership.
No, I agree with you. I think that, even if it's not the way to put it, the anger can be misplaced. And we obviously don't like that Josh Harris owns several entities across different markets and in different leagues. But he's not the one, in charge of these hands-on player personnel decisions. Do I think Daryl Morey should have been fired? I don't know. I don't know the inner workings and like who's making these overall calls. I know Daryl Morey is like the guy who's really the one like, hey, let's go out and get Paul George. Let's pay Joel Embiid. But I have to believe he's not making those decisions in a vacuum. And there's other people there kind of, influencing him and counseling him. I don't know. I don't blame Nick Nurse. I'm glad that he wasn't fired because I actually feel bad for Nick Nurse. I think he was
a weird spot to analyze.
Position.
It's a weird spot to analyze.
Yeah. Actually, I had a friend who ran into, or a friend of a friend who ran into Nick Nurse just like at some event, and he just said like, "Hey, good luck this season, coach." And Nick Nurse goes, "Thanks, we're gonna need it." It was like a couple weeks ago.
For this upcoming year?
For this upcoming season.
Wow, was he rocking the NN hat, the Nick Nurse hat?
I didn't ask that.
Well, that's the details I needed to know. He said, "Thanks, we're gonna need it."
I don't know, but I don't know. My point is, I don't know where to place blame, but we want to place blame somewhere.
You're just gonna nonchalantly throw in that scoop and just pretend that was not a big deal? Oh, we're going to have a rub. We're going to need it. We're going to need it. What does that mean?
I know. It doesn't really inspire confidence, does it?
No!
Yeah.
I feel worse.
And he kind of like laughed when he said it.
Oh,
thanks. We're going to need it.
All right.